My brother stole my wife and they had a child. I moved to London to start a new life. Now, they want me back in their lives. I, 29M. Never thought I'd be in this situation, but here I am, pouring my heart out to strangers on the internet. My life, which I thought was picture perfect, has crumbled around me, and I'm struggling to make sense of it all. I grew up in Millbrook, a small town where everyone knew each other's business. My family was well known. My dad was the high school principal, and my mom ran the local bakery. I had a younger brother, Nathan, 27M, who was my partner in crime growing up. We were close, always looking out for each other, especially when our parents were busy with work. Our next-door neighbors were the Johnsons. They had a daughter, Eileen, 28F, who was my age. From the moment the Johnsons moved in when we were 5, Eileen and I were inseparable. We spent our childhood climbing trees, building forts, and getting into all sorts of mischief together. I remember one summer when we were 10, we decided to run away to the treehouse in my backyard. Our parents played along, sending us supplies, sandwiches and juice boxes, via a pulley system we had rigged up. We lasted all of 2 days before the lack of electricity for our Game Boys drove us back home. As we grew older, our friendship only strengthened. We went through the awkward teenage years together, supporting each other through braces, acne, and first crushes. Eileen was there for me when I didn't make the football team in freshman year, and I supported her when she struggled with calculus in junior year. It was during a late-night study session for our SATs that something shifted between us. One moment we were arguing over algebra problems, and the next, we were kissing. Dating Eileen felt like the most natural thing in the world. We already knew everything about each other, and our families were thrilled. My brother Nathan teased us mercilessly but was genuinely happy for us. The three of us became an inseparable trio throughout high school. After graduation, Eileen and I both got accepted to State University. Nathan, being 2 years younger, was sad to see us go but promised to join us when he graduated. College was a whirlwind of new experiences, but having Eileen by my side made it feel like home. We joined the same study groups, cheered at football games together, and spent countless nights dreaming about our future. It was during our senior year that I decided to propose. I enlisted Nathan's help to plan the perfect proposal. He was studying photography and came up to visit us for a weekend, ostensibly to take pictures for his portfolio. We went to the park where Eileen and I had our first official date. As we walked through the fall foliage, Nathan trailing behind us with his camera, I got down on one knee. Eileen's yes was immediate and enthusiastic, and Nathan captured the whole thing on camera. We got married a year after graduation in a beautiful ceremony in our hometown. Everyone we knew was there. It felt like the entire town had shown up to celebrate. Nathan was my best man, and the speech he gave at the reception had everyone in tears. He talked about growing up with us, about how he always knew we were meant to be together. Looking back now, I wonder if I missed something in his eyes that day. After the wedding, Eileen and I moved to the city for better job opportunities. I landed a position at a tech startup, working long hours but loving the challenge. Eileen pursued her passion for teaching, getting a job at a local elementary school. We were building our life together, and it felt perfect. We always talked about having a big family. Both of us came from small families and wanted to have a house full of kids. 3 years into our marriage, we decided it was time to start trying. Months went by, but nothing happened. At first, we weren't too worried. These things take time, right? But as more time passed, we started to get concerned. After a year of trying with no success, we consulted a doctor. What followed was a series of tests, each more invasive and disappointing than the last. Finally, we got the news. I had a low sperm count. The doctor explained our options: IVF, adoption, sperm donation. But I could barely focus on his words. All I could think was that I had failed Eileen, failed as a man. Eileen was incredibly supportive through it all. She assured me that she loved me no matter what, that we would figure it out together. We started researching our options, attending support groups for couples dealing with infertility. It was a tough time, but I thought we were getting through it as a team. Last month, Eileen's parents celebrated their 35th wedding anniversary. It was a big event back in Millbrook, and everyone was invited. We took a week off work to attend the celebration and catch up with old friends and family. Nathan, who had moved to a nearby city for work, was there too. During the party, I noticed Eileen spending a lot of time with Nathan. They were always close, almost like siblings themselves, so I didn't think much of it at first. But as the night went on, I caught them whispering and exchanging worried glances. At one point, I saw Nathan place his hand on Eileen's stomach, a gesture that seemed oddly intimate. When he saw me looking, he quickly pulled away. The day after the party, Eileen sat me down for a talk. She looked nervous, which was unusual for her. She started by saying how much she loved me and how sorry she was. Then she dropped the bomb. She was pregnant. For a split second, joy overwhelmed me. Then reality came crashing down. It couldn't be mine. Eileen confirmed my worst fears. She had slept with someone else. But nothing could have prepared me for what came next. The father was my brother, Nathan. Eileen explained, through tears, that she and Nathan had been in a relationship for the past year. They had kept it a secret from everyone. Eileen said she still loved me, but she was in love with Nathan too. They hadn't planned for Eileen to get pregnant. It just happened. I felt like I was in a bad dream. My wife and my brother, the two people I trusted most in the world, had betrayed me in the worst possible way. I couldn't process it. Without a word, I left the house and drove around aimlessly for hours. When I returned, Eileen was gone. She had packed a bag and left a note saying she was staying with Nathan. The next few days were a blur. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I called in sick to work and just stayed in bed, trying to make sense of it all. My parents called, worried about me. Apparently, Eileen and Nathan had come clean to them. They wanted to know if I was okay. I wasn't okay. I felt betrayed, angry, and heartbroken. The life I had built, the future I had planned, had been shattered in an instant. I couldn't stop thinking about all the signs I must have missed. Were they laughing at me behind my back all this time? How long had this really been going on? It's been 3 weeks since I found out. Eileen has tried to contact me several times, but I've ignored her calls and messages. Nathan sent me a long email apologizing and trying to explain, but I couldn't bring myself to read it all. The thought of them together makes me physically ill. My parents are torn. They're happy about becoming grandparents, but devastated by how it's all happened. They've tried to talk to me about reconciliation, but I shut them down. I can't even think about forgiving Eileen or Nathan right now. I'm lost. I don't know how to move forward from this. How do I face my family and friends back in Millbrook? Everyone will know by now. The thought of their pitying looks, the whispers behind my back, it's too much to bear. I'm considering quitting my job and moving to a new city, maybe even a new country. Starting fresh where no one knows me or my story. But is running away the answer? I've built a life here, a career I love. Do I give that up too? I never thought I'd be 29 and starting over. I feel like I've lost everything. My wife, my brother, my future family. How do I even begin to rebuild? Any advice would be appreciated. I'm drowning here and I don't know how to save myself. Update 1. It's been 2 months since my last post, and a lot has happened. First, I want to thank everyone for their support and advice. Your words helped me through some of the darkest days of my life. After much soul-searching, I decided not to run away. As tempting as it was to pack up and disappear, I realized that would be letting Eileen and Nathan win. I refused to be driven out of the life I had built for myself because of their actions. Instead, I threw myself into my work. I took on extra projects, worked late nights, anything to keep my mind occupied. My colleagues noticed the change, but chalked it up to dedication. Little did they know I was using work as a lifeline, a way to avoid dealing with the mess my personal life had become. About a month ago, my boss called me into his office. I was sure he was going to reprimand me for the insane hours I'd been putting in. Instead, he offered me a promotion, a position that would require me to relocate to our London office. It felt like a sign, a chance to start fresh without completely running away. I accepted the offer without hesitation. The company gave me a month to wrap things up here and prepare for the move. I didn't tell anyone about it at first, not even my parents. I needed time to process it myself. 2 weeks ago, I finally gathered the courage to read Nathan's email. It was long, filled with apologies and explanations about how he and Eileen fell in love. He wrote about how they tried to fight their feelings, how guilty they felt. He talked about the night it all started. Apparently, it was during my business trip to Chicago last year. Eileen had been upset about another failed IVF attempt, and Nathan had come over to comfort her. One thing led to another and, well, you know the rest. Reading it brought back all the pain and anger I had been trying to suppress. I typed out a scathing reply but didn't send it. Instead, I decided to meet Nathan face to face. I needed closure before I left for London. We met at a cafe in a neighboring town to avoid gossip. Seeing Nathan was harder than I expected. He looked different, happier, despite the guilt in his eyes. The thought of Eileen's pregnancy made my heart clench. I let Nathan do most of the talking. He cried, apologized, tried to explain. He talked about how he had always admired Eileen, how that admiration had grown into something more over the years. He swore they never meant for it to happen, that they had tried to end it multiple times but couldn't stay away from each other. Nothing he said could justify what they did. In the end, I told him about my move to London. The look of shock on his face gave me a small sense of satisfaction. It felt good to finally be the one with news that could shake his world. I made it clear that while I might someday forgive him for my own peace of mind, our relationship as brothers was over. I told him not to contact me again, and to pass the message to Eileen as well. Nathan nodded, tears streaming down his face, but didn't argue. As for Eileen, I've instructed my lawyer to proceed with the divorce. I'm leaving all our joint assets to her, the house, the car, everything. I don't want anything that reminds me of our life together. My lawyer thinks I'm being too generous, but I don't care about the material things. I just want this chapter of my life closed as quickly and cleanly as possible. My parents are devastated about my decision to move abroad. They came to visit last week, and we had a long, emotional conversation. They've been trying to mediate, to find a way for all of us to be a family again. I know they mean well, but they don't understand that there's no going back from this. The trust is shattered, and I don't think it can ever be fully repaired. I leave for London in 2 weeks. I'm scared and excited at the same time. It's a new chapter in my life, one without the two people I thought would always be by my side, but I'm determined to make the best of it. To those who advised me to seek therapy, thank you, but it's not for me. I'm dealing with this in my own way. The pain is still there, but it's no longer consuming me. I'm focusing on my future now, on building a new life for myself. I've started packing up my apartment, deciding what to take with me and what to leave behind. It's been a bittersweet process, filled with memories both good and bad. I found the photo album from our wedding, filled with pictures of happier times. For a moment, I was tempted to burn it. Instead, I packed it away in a box to be stored at my parents' house. Maybe someday, I'll be able to look at those pictures without feeling like my heart is being ripped out. I'll post another update once I'm settled in London. Thank you all again for your support. Wish me luck as I embark on this new journey. Update 2. Hello everyone. It's been 6 months since I moved to London, and I thought it was time for another update. The move has been challenging, to say the least. Starting over in a new country, with a new job and no support system, was harder than I anticipated. The first couple of months were rough. I buried myself in work, barely leaving my small flat except for necessities. The loneliness was overwhelming at times, and there were nights when I seriously considered booking a flight back home. But slowly, things started to improve. My colleagues have been incredibly welcoming, inviting me out for drinks and showing me around the city. I've even made a few friends outside of work. I joined a local gym and a book club, forcing myself to socialize. It's not always easy, but it's getting better. I've had no direct contact with Eileen or Nathan since I left. My parents keep me updated, though I've asked them not to share too many details. I know the baby was born 2 months ago, a girl. They named her Lily. My mom sent me a picture. I couldn't bring myself to look at it for days, but when I finally did, it hit me hard. She has my eyes. The divorce was finalized last month. Eileen didn't contest anything, which made the process smoother. It still hurt to sign those papers, to officially end a relationship that had been part of my life for so long. I found myself remembering our wedding day, how full of hope and love we were. It's strange how life can change so drastically. There have been moments of weakness. Late at night, when the loneliness feels overwhelming, I've been tempted to call Eileen or check her social media. But I've stayed strong. I remind myself of their betrayal, of the pain they caused me. It helps me stay resolved. Work has been a good distraction. I've thrown myself into my new role, taking on additional responsibilities. My boss is impressed with my performance and has hinted at further advancement opportunities. It feels good to be recognized for my hard work, to have something positive to focus on. I've also started dating again, casually. Nothing serious, just a few dinners here and there. It feels strange, being with someone who doesn't know my history, who didn't grow up with me. But it's also refreshing in a way. I can be whoever I want to be, without the weight of my past hanging over me. Last week, I received a letter from Nathan. He wrote about Lily, about how guilty he still feels, about how he hopes one day I can be a part of their lives again. He included another picture of Lily. I read the letter once, then burned it along with the picture. I'm not ready for forgiveness, and I'm not sure I ever will be. My parents are planning to visit next month. They've been supportive of my move, even though I know it's been hard for them. They're excited to see my new life here. I'm a bit nervous about their visit. I know they'll have questions I'm not sure I'm ready to answer, but I'm also looking forward to seeing them, to having a piece of home here with me, even if just for a short while. That's all for now. Life goes on, as they say. It's not the life I had planned, but I'm making the best of it. Some days are harder than others, but I'm taking it one day at a time. Thank you all for your continued support. It means more than you know. Update 3. It's been a year since my last update, and almost 2 years since that fateful day when my life changed forever. I apologize for the long silence, but I needed time to process everything that's happened. Life in London has become my new normal. I've settled into a routine, made friends, and even started enjoying the unpredictable British weather. Work continues to be a major focus in my life. I've received another promotion and now lead a team of my own. It's challenging, but I enjoy the responsibility. My parents' visit last year was a turning point. Seeing them, hearing about life back home, brought up a lot of emotions I thought I had dealt with. We had long, difficult conversations about Eileen, Nathan, and Lily. They showed me more recent pictures of Lily. She's growing so fast, already taking her first steps. It's strange to think I have a niece I've never met. After they left, I did something I never thought I would do. I called Nathan. It wasn't a long conversation, mostly awkward silences and tentative questions. But it was a start. We've spoken a few times since then, short calls every couple of months. We're not close, and I doubt we ever will be again, but we're trying to build some kind of relationship. I haven't spoken to Eileen directly. I'm not ready for that yet. But Nathan keeps me updated about Lily. They've told her about me, apparently. She knows she has an uncle who lives far away. It's weird to think about, this little person who's connected to me, but who I've never met. As for my personal life, I've been seeing someone for the past 6 months. Her name is Olivia. She's a curator at a local museum. We met at a charity event for my company. She's smart, funny, and doesn't take any of my nonsense. She knows about my past. I told her everything early on. I was terrified she'd run, but she's been incredibly understanding and patient. Last month, I received an invitation to a family reunion back home. Eileen and Nathan will be there with Lily. I've been agonizing over whether to go or not. Part of me wants to see everyone, to meet Lily. Another part of me is terrified of facing Eileen and Nathan, of seeing them together. Olivia thinks I should go, that it might provide some closure. My friends here in London agree, but the thought of it makes my stomach churn. What if I can't handle it? What if seeing them happy together reopens all the old wounds? I have 2 weeks to decide. I'm leaning towards going, but I'm still unsure. If I do go, Olivia has offered to come with me for support. Having her there might make it easier to face everything. Life has a way of surprising you. 2 years ago, I thought my life was over. Now I have a new career, a new relationship, a new home. The pain is still there, but it's duller now, more of an ache than a sharp stab. I don't know what the future holds, especially regarding my family, but I'm no longer letting the past dictate my life. I'm moving forward, one day at a time.